Hello students. So next we will consider the mechanism of photosynthesis. So photosynthesis involves two main steps. They are called the light reaction and the dark reaction. So photosynthesis is divided into light reaction and dark reaction. See here, you know the general reaction that occurs in photosynthesis, right? Where carbon dioxide and water, they are the raw materials. Now these, in the presence of sunlight, they form food material, that is starch, right, or the simple form, that is glucose, and there is liberation of molecular oxygen. So here the oxygen which is evolved or the oxygen which is liberated during photosynthesis, it is formed in the light reaction. So light reaction produces oxygen mainly by photolysis of water. So during light reaction, photolysis of water takes place. During photolysis of water, oxygen is liberated, right? Similarly, the starch or the glucose that is produced, it is mainly produced during dark reaction, right? So oxygen is evolved during light reaction, whereas the glucose is produced during the dark reaction, right? So in this way, the reaction of photosynthesis, it can be divided into light reaction and dark reaction. So first we will consider the light reaction. Now this reaction is called light reaction. It is called light reaction because it depends on the sunlight, right? Since this reaction depends on sunlight, it is called light reaction or light dependent reaction. Now this reaction, it was discovered by a scientist called Robert Hill. So Robert Hill discovered the light reaction of photosynthesis, right? Because of this, light reaction is also called Hill reaction, since it was discovered by Robert Hill. Now where this light reaction takes place or where this light reaction occurs, so occurrence of light reaction. So light reaction occurs in the grana of chloroplast. Light reaction, it takes place in the grana of chloroplast. So already you know what are these grana, right? Grana are present in the chloroplast. See here, a chloroplast has matrix, it is called stroma. In the stroma, there are grana, singular granule. Each granum is composed of flattened sacs or flat sacs. They are called thylakoids. A stack of thylakoids, it is called granum, plural grana. So grana, they are composed of thylakoids, and these thylakoids, they contain a green colored pigment which is called chlorophyll, and this chlorophyll is involved in photosynthesis, right? It is involved in the light reaction of photosynthesis. So chlorophyll absorbs the sunlight and it starts the light reaction. So light reaction of photosynthesis occurs in the grana of chloroplast. So the steps which are involved in the light reaction of photosynthesis. The first step is activation of chlorophyll. So these are the three steps of light reaction of photosynthesis. The first is the activation of chlorophyll. The next step is photolysis of water. The third step is electron transport and photophosphorylation. So these are the important steps which occur during the light reaction of photosynthesis. So first we will consider activation of chlorophyll. So in this step, chlorophyll becomes active. In this step, chlorophyll becomes active. So who is responsible for activation of chlorophyll, or who activates the chlorophyll? So it is the sunlight. So sunlight helps in the activation of chlorophyll, right? See here, thylakoids contain chlorophyll. So it is called LHC, that is called the light harvesting complex. So light harvesting complex is composed of the pigment called chlorophyll. So this light harvesting complex, that is consisting of chlorophyll, it absorbs the sunlight. So what happens now? Chlorophyll becomes active, right? It jumps to excited state and donates the electron. So in this way, electron is passed from one pigment to another pigment, right? And the reaction center which is present, right? So reaction center P700 and P680. These are the two reaction centers which are present in thylakoids. Reaction center P700 present in photosystem 1. Reaction center P680 present in photosystem 2. They become active, right? So in this way, these reaction centers located in photosystem 1 and photosystem 2, they become active. So this step, it is called activation, right? So the next step is photolysis of water. So photolysis of water, in the previous video we have discussed, right, the meaning of photolysis of water. So photolysis, photo means sunlight, lysis means breakdown. So breakdown of water or dissociation of water in the presence of sunlight. So breakdown or dissociation of water in the presence of sunlight, it is called photolysis of water. So this is another important step that occurs during light reaction, right? So water is photooxidized, right? Water is photooxidized to produce protons, electrons and oxygen, right? So I will write the reaction here. So this is the reaction that occurs during the photolysis of water. So a water molecule in the presence of these ions, manganese ions and chloride ions. This is a positive ion, this is a negative ion. So manganese ions and chloride ions, they catalyze this reaction, right? So this reaction is catalyzed by these ions, right? Manganese ions and chloride ions. They catalyze this reaction, and in the presence of sunlight. So what is produced here? 2 protons, 2 electrons and oxygen, right? So this is called photolysis of water. I hope it is much clearer to you now. To produce molecular oxygen, right? The oxygen that is liberated during photosynthesis, it is this. This is called molecular oxygen. So to produce 1 molecule of oxygen, 2 water molecules are required. So we can make it like this. 2 water molecules are photooxidized in the presence of sunlight. So here it will become like this. 4 protons, 4 electrons, and now this is 1 molecule of oxygen. So this is called molecular oxygen that we use during respiration. So plants, they liberate this O2, which is called molecular oxygen, right? So this oxygen, it is liberated by plants during photosynthesis, and this oxygen, it comes from a raw material called water, right? Just I will, okay, we shall discuss that in the coming part. So understood the photolysis of water. Then next one is electron transport and photophosphorylation. Electron transport, that is the transfer of electrons with the help of electron carriers. So there are various electron carriers, right? There are various electron carriers which transport the electrons during photosynthesis. How they transport we shall consider when we discuss the coming part, right? So in the coming videos we shall discuss how electrons are transferred with the help of electron carriers. Then photophosphorylation. Photophosphorylation. So here phosphorylation. What is this phosphorylation? Phosphorylation is a type of reaction where inorganic phosphate is added to the reaction, right? Addition of inorganic phosphate. Addition of inorganic phosphate, written as like this Pi. So Pi indicates inorganic phosphate. So addition of inorganic phosphate to a reaction, it is called phosphorylation, right? So phosphorylation is the addition of inorganic phosphate to the reaction. Photo means when phosphorylation occurs in the presence of sunlight. When phosphorylation takes place in the presence of sunlight, it is called photophosphorylation, right? So we shall take one reaction here. So this is one reaction, right? Now here, this is inorganic phosphate which is added to this reaction. That is called phosphorylation. Addition of inorganic phosphate to the reaction. When this reaction takes place in the presence of sunlight, it is called photophosphorylation. Now what happens in this reaction? This inorganic phosphate combines with this compound, and what is formed? ATP is formed. So adenosine diphosphate. ADP is adenosine diphosphate. Diphosphate means this adenosine is having two phosphates. Addition of the third phosphate here, or one more phosphate. So di plus 1 means 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So this product becomes adenosine triphosphate, which is ATP. Understood this? So adenosine diphosphate by addition of phosphate becomes adenosine triphosphate. So this ATP, it is the source of energy. So organisms get energy from ATP, right? So that is about the third step involved in light reaction. So remaining part we will consider in the next video. Thank you.